was?
Ja?
Hör zu, es tut mir leid, ich kann es erklären. Ich muss dich sehen, wir treffen uns in Fullers Büro.
Ich kenne die Wahrheit.
Wo bist du?
Man könnte es das Ende der Welt nennen.
Whenever a fly reaches the midpoint of the chamber where the two odor streams meet, it has to make a decision.
Entscheidung. Das Problem ist die Entscheidung.
Präzise.
The DNA to be copied enters the production line from bottom left.
On your t-shirt, Herman, what would it say?
I mentioned the movie The Matrix.
You find out that buried in them are computer codes, just like the type that you find in the browser when you go surf the web. And so I'm left with the puzzle of trying to figure out whether I live in the Matrix or not.
You're blowing my mind at this moment.
Robothaft geworden, dass sie schon gar keinen Konflikt mehr empfinden. Das heißt, ihr wirkliches Gefühl, ihr Liebe, ihr Hass, das ist schon so verdrängt oder sogar so verkümmert, dass sie das Bild einer chronischen leichten Schizophrenie bilden.
Scientific study undertaken by the University of Bonn in Germany suggests that the universe could be one giant computer simulation. And in this article they make an analogy with a chessboard. Cosmic rays behave like chess pieces on a chessboard. You can't move them less than one whole space on this lattice structure which they've measured.
I wasn't alone in saying this, that some of us just said, oh, one day, maybe the world is a hologram. That's not the way it happened. The way it happened was exactly this way. When you eliminate everything that's impossible, whatever is left over must be the truth.
First of all, I would say it should be clear that this whole holographic story is the most radical thing that has happened to our understanding of space, time, matter, since the invention of quantum mechanics and relativity. It is really something very, very different.
On your t-shirt, Herman, what would it say?
I mentioned the movie The Matrix. Probably some image like these letters and
these pictures, you find out that buried in them are computer codes, just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web. And so I'm left with the puzzle of trying to figure out whether I live in the Matrix or not.
Wait, you're blowing my mind at this moment.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality And the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant. And I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.
One of the central ideas to this project's approach to visualizing the extra dimensions is Everett's many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, which explains how every possible outcome for our universe is equally real, but as observers we can only see one of those universes at a time. Dr. Benjamin show a diagram very similar to the ones from my project of branching timelines resulting from chance and choice, and he suggests that these are occurring at the fifth dimension.
Now this idea that consciousness can move in a hierarchy in scale, kind of like octaves, is very much like music. It's also consistent with Eastern philosophy. It looks at levels in the hierarchy where consciousness can move, and lokas they're called. And this is from Eastern philosophy, where we actually get frequencies shown here. So consciousness can move up and down these scales, and since it's happening in space-time geometry, and since space-time geometry itself seems to be fractal or scale invariant, it could be that consciousness is moving to finer and finer scales of space-time geometry. So Bing could be occurring at smaller and smaller scales, but as you go down in scale, E gets larger and you get more intense experience. Although the energy required comes from the space-time, then you don't really need it in the brain. Which is why, for example, when in an altered state, as we're going to hear about Saturday, for example, with psilocybin mushrooms, the brain becomes metabolically quiet. It looks like there's nothing going on, because consciousness, I would argue, has gone deep into the quantum level, and you don't need membrane depolarization. So behavior might be impaired, but consciousness is enhanced tremendously. So as the Beatles said, the deeper you go, the higher you fly, the higher you fly, the deeper you go. As you go deeper into this fractal hierarchy.
Your life was a two-dimensional page in a book, a salvia book that flips through your face. Those hands, are they the hands of human clones? Yep, that's Lady Salvia moving across my mind. She's pretty graceful when she moves. Oh, I've been there. The spiraling tunnel. I feel like I'm being pulled to the left as my mind disappears into salvia space. My ego feels like it's being separated from my face. I no longer know where the real me is. I'm just a series of clones walking through the looking glass. I wish I were back on the salvia wheel, my cartoon body moving along the outer rim as it forever rotates around salvia reality.